You're never gonna see this on any mainstream news.
This ain't what you want, this is what you need.
Ain't never forget.
Yeah, they made us slaves, hung our kids from trees.
I never forget.
Nooses on our neck, whipped us till we bleed.
And they gotta get it.
Hey man, calling Galatians 3:13.
Woo.
You're now tuned in to Precept Upon Precept.
Who's so strange? Look at how low they hang. Oh man, took out the chains. So when the wind blow, we just swing. Much oppression never kill us. Breaking dreams that is bitter.
Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat as stated in Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept. We are your host. My name is Captain Shem.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasa.
Officer Thomas.
And we got our reader, Officer Solomon, off to the side doing his thing. Hey, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out. Tonight, I came in looking like a wrinkle bomb, Tom, completely wrinkled. My wife screamed at me, "You got to iron your shirt." And I said, "No, I don't, woman." And sure enough, I get here, and it was wrinkled. So Thomas gave me his shirt. The Asa, the fat tech, gave shirt to. It was a crazy thing, but we got it done, and now I got a shirt that is not wrinkled. So all praise to the Most High. So that being said, you brothers get into the green, and we got a lot of things happening in Israel. So without further ado, we start the show like we always do with Officer Micah with the Watchman Report. Take it away.
Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless. Great to be back on the show. All praise to the Lord for that. So let's get to some of the news. U.S. flight cancellation accelerate as airlines comply with government shutdown orders. So if you're planning on traveling, get your travel in advance because government shutdown ain't paying nobody. So next article. Scammers are hijacking apartment listings and impersonating real estate agents to con prospective renters. Get it in writing. Make sure you are dealing with actual people. Fraudsters are real. Times is tough, and they're trying to get you out of your hard-earned nickels. All right, next article. Judge orders Trump administration to deliver full SNAP benefits to states by Friday. So, hey, the judge told Trump, hey, you need to start making sure that those SNAP benefits are released by Friday. All right, last article. U.S. government shutdown drags on as senators fail to find path out. So this thing is getting crazy. They're still dragging out this government shutdown. So make sure you're doing what you need to do to prepare accordingly while things are tough. So this concludes the Watchman Report.
All right, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Welcome back. Welcome back. We had a couple reruns. All praises. Let's do like we always start with the thumbnail up on the screen. Okay, so let's get into that.
All right. It says the West is taking the whole West. And you see we got our favorite president, Donald Trump, and he got the army behind us. He got the whole globe. Brazil back there. You see he's trying to take over Venezuela. Trump is doing a lot of things, and he's trying to take over the whole West. Trump is trying to be what you calling it? A tyrant in the West.
And you notice when it says the West, because when you hear news commentators talk about the West, they don't mean Nicaragua. Nicaragua's in the West. They're not talking about Mexico. When they say the West, it's talking about the U.S. So when it says the West is taking the whole West, they want the whole Western Hemisphere. So tonight we're going to get into that. It's happening right before our eyes. Let's start in order with number one. I think you pretty much, is it tonight's content? Number one. All right. And I want to thank this certain faithful brothers and sisters who send information. And sometimes I don't even respond to you. I apologize. And you still send. I really appreciate the thoughts and sharing. Okay. Number one for tonight's content. Here we go, y'all.
Reuters. Trump expands critical mineral list to copper, met coal, uranium.
So now, real quick, here's the thing we got to understand. One of the reasons why Donald Trump and the United States is doing this is because the country of China controls almost 90% of the Earth's rare mineral production, meaning that go into solar panels and technologies and chips, and the U.S. is so far behind. So keep that in mind as we go into tonight's show. The concept of minerals is one of the key concerns. Go ahead, reader.
The Trump administration on Thursday added 10 minerals to a list it deems essential for the U.S. economy and national security.
Notice it says the economy, but it mentions national security. National security, because you're going to find that the U.S. military, whether the Army, Marines, Coast Guard, Navy, Air Force, is dependent on China for much of the U.S. Missiles, infrastructure, and other technologies. So remember that. Read on.
Including copper, vital to electric cars.
Remember what Trump, I don't know if y'all remember this, but remember when Trump said, they want to put an electric tank. So what are they going to do when they're out in the battlefield and then they got to recharge? He said, it's just stupid. You remember he said that? Yeah, Mikey, you remember when he said that?
Yeah.
He was literally like, what are they going to do? They want an electric tank? What are they going to do out there? Trump is just incredible. Okay, go back to, read on.
Power grids and data centers. And metallurgical coal used to make coke, fuel, or steel production.
For steel production. So keep in mind, minerals are a major part of not only the economy, like cell phones with microchips and computers and tab notebooks and iPads, but national security. That is very important. There's a reason why the U.S. right now, I think, Mike, you might have mentioned it if I went to go to the bathroom real quick, that the U.S. is planning to maybe attack Nigeria. Did you cover that? They want to possibly, I know you probably looked into it, that they're talking about, and they're not concerned about black people killing black people in Nigeria. Nigeria is rich in resources and minerals. And today, Donald Trump says, if the Nigerians keep killing, by the way, the Christians and Nigerians are killing black Christians. So now he's all of a sudden concerned about black Nigerian Christians? Really? They have a lot of resources. So these wars are being fought in the name of energy, minerals, and resources, like they were in the 1400s when they went to conquest for gold and spices and blah, 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 and salt. Read.
The Interior Department's critical minerals list guides federal investments and permitting decisions and helps shape the government's broader minerals strategy.
The federal government, right, has a broad mineral strategy. Maybe that's why Brazil is going in Venezuela. Maybe that's why. Maybe why they send. That's why they send the Green Berets in to train up other foreign armies to be able to rise up coups. Interesting. Read.
The administration is expanding the list amid efforts to boost domestic mining and cut reliance on imports, particularly from economic rival China.
Now, real quick, and brothers, please, at any time, jump in. Do me a favor, internet guy. Type in what country controls the most in rare earth minerals. Type that in and watch watch what we're going to get about China. You're going to be shocked. Okay, the U.S. let this go on too long.
Cap,
Yes,
it's
sir.
something that they didn't. That same article, just scroll back up to the title. I thought they were going to just scroll up to the title. You see where it says that U word right there, at the last right there?
Yes.
Uranium. Look up what depleted uranium is. This stuff,
Yep.
Esau see it. Esau's about weapons. Depleted uranium is used in armor-piercing rounds. But they didn't say nothing. I thought they would bring it up in the first few seconds of the article. They look at that right there. Depleted uranium is a byproduct of uranium enrichment used in military applications for its high density and pyrophoric properties such as armor-piercing munitions and tank armor.
Wow.
I thought they would have brought that out. No, Esau ain't gonna say nothing about that though.
And it's interesting. I was watching this especially the other day, and they show the difference between a 50 caliber round and a 50 caliber armor piercing round. 50 caliber round is incredibly powerful, but the armor piercing, and if you don't have that, and you have a 50 cal, did they make them in machine guns? I can't remember.
Yes, they do.
If I have a 50 cal machine gun with armor piercing rounds, that's a one-man army. You get a couple of those on a Humvee or a deuce and a half or a 5-ton, you're taking out a whole lot. Okay, and so if you do not have that enriched uranium, Officer Micah, you don't have the most lethal ground troops. Okay, because so much of 5.56 is going to do, or 7.62. Read. You done
What
with that?
country
Yes, sir.
owns
Yes, sir.
the most rare earth minerals?
Okay, now watch this real carefully.
China owns the most rare earth minerals,
Yep.
with estimated reserves of approximately 44 million metric tons,
44 million metric tons. Read on.
which is nearly half of the world's total.
So China, according to this first quick AI overview, and it's actually some say it's higher than that, half of all the world's total China controls. Read on. The
country also leads in the production and processing of these minerals, giving it a dominant position in the global supply chain.
Okay, now that's go back to it. Should say AI advanced overview. Some click. You know what I'm saying? That's the overview. Okay. Type in a regular and come back to that because I have multiple sources that say they have 90% of the production. All right, no problem. Read on. Go back to your article. Can we turn the air on, tech guy? It's hot as hell in here. What happened to the article?
Yeah,
They got to scroll down. So.
Come on, man. What the hell's going on here? All right, there we go. Thank you.
The list serves as a blueprint for Washington's push to secure supplies of materials needed for defense.
Remember, it said above they first needed it for economy. Then it said now it goes right to defense. I'm showing you that the U.S. is worried because they're giving much of their munitions to Israel and to the Ukraine, and they're starting to realize we better get our stuff together. And this is why the West is going to take the Western Hemisphere. Tonight we're going to show you that. Read on.
Manufacturing and clean energy technologies.
Clean energy technologies. Read on.
It determines which projects dualify for
Qualify. You need some glasses, brother.
Qualify for incentives, informs national.
Qualify for federal incentives.
Qualify for federal incentives, informs national stockpiling and research priorities, and signals to private investors where the government sees long-term strategic value.
Now, we're going to stop. We're not going to read the whole article. It says where the government sees long-term strategic values. Where the government sees long-term strategic values. And it talked before about economic, and then it said national defense. Now, go to, watch this, go down. That's number 1. Go to, yes, go to number 3. Timestamp start at 103. McGregor's going to go on. He's an old Edomite, but he's an Edomite that's been canceled by the popular culture. He's a former Army colonel who served in Trump's cabinet and also was a decorated war colonel that served in multiple theaters of combat. And he's thorough. And he's been interviewed by a former CIA operative, okay? And it is, you've probably seen, some of you seen this before. Start the timestamp.
And as are you.
Well, we're trying to stay alive.
Yeah, we are. We're trying to stay alive.
Pause. Pause. It's the reason why I said that is they're joking, but they're not. John Karakaku, I believe that's how you say it. Karayaku. He is a former CIA guy. When he made that statement, because there was, it's going to show later on, there is an Israeli Jewish man that's threatening openly Tucker Carlson and other podcasters, and they're one of the ones that's in that number. So don't think that they're not going to try to take them out. Just like, who did they kill? They killed Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk began to talk and propose questions to greater white America about, should we put Israel first? And he had a very powerful platform. Charlie Kirk was one of the guys that helped to get Donald Trump elected with the younger generation. They killed Charlie Kirk, okay? These guys, when they're making that joke, they're talking against Jewish Israelis on a platform that is not mainstream, but it gets a lot of attention, okay? So CIA guy, former CIA, former Army colonel, they're making a joke, but there's something behind it, okay? Read on.
You're looking great.
Thank you, sir. And as are you.
Well, we're trying to stay alive.
Yeah, we are. We're trying to stay alive.
Especially within range of Washington, D.C., right?
Which is easier said than done. I have so many questions for you. I almost don't know where to begin. But just 5 or 10 minutes before we started recording, 5 or 10 minutes ago, I received a breaking news update from Associated Press. And I wanted to get your preliminary thoughts on this. The White House has just announced that the U.S. will send an aircraft carrier battle group to Venezuela.
Pause real quick. Just look up, you got a couple of minutes, tech guys. Look up aircraft carrier battle group, because it's not just one ship. There's a whole doggone squad. Okay, look it up and get some. Remember that when they say what he just said, we're going to show you what they're sending. So it's very powerful, okay?
Aircraft carrier battle group.
Oh, gosh.
So, Cap,
Please.
they would need to send an aircraft carrier battle group to Venezuela to take out a drug cartel. It's something else that Venezuela has, which they've been openly saying that they want to take out Maduro. What they're after is the resources. It's always the resources. They're looking to get what Venezuela has more than anybody else on the planet, and that's oil.
Big facts. Hey, not only that, there's an article we're going to get later, and you perfect segue to later on, Siasa. Chavez did what, who's the brother in, is it Gaddafi over there in Libya? Remember when he was trying to unite Africa into one national bank? Chavez was trying to do that with the strength of his oil and unite all of Latin America. That's why they killed Chavez. They killed him. They said it was a medical. No, they killed Chavez. What are we doing? I'm sorry.
It's a fleet. Okay.
Okay. No, that's a picture that they want you to see. There's at least 10, 12 ships. We're going to read about a carrier battle group.
A carrier battle group, CVBG, is a naval fleet consisting of an aircraft carrier, capital ship, and its large number of escorts, together defining the group. The CV in CVBG is the United States Navy Hull classification code for an aircraft carrier.
Real quick, scroll down a little bit. I want to see something. I don't want to know the history. Scroll down a little bit. I don't want to see construction of large. Scroll down. Scroll down. Suez Canal. I want to see some modern day stuff. Scroll down. War. I'm gonna get a modern day war. Lebanon, Gulf of Syria. Wait, stop right. No. I want to see something in the 90s. This is what I'm looking for. 90s. Scroll down. I'll tell you when. Stop right there. Go to. Okay. Look at 2011.
2011 military intervention in Libya.
Nah, I'm sorry. It's the French army. Scroll down. Okay, this is probably not. Okay, it's not a problem. We got enough. See if it says USA. Scroll down where it says USA. India, Italy, Russia, United Kingdom. Okay. Okay, perfect. Right here. So the United States. Okay.
United States.
Hold on. One sec, brother. Scroll down a little bit. Trying to save us some time.
Scroll down the other way.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, that's what I want. Look at the bottom. It says the U.S. Navy maintains 11 groups, 10 of which are based in the United States, and one is a forward deployed in Yokosuka, Japan. This is the point. One battle strike, carrier strike group is absolutely a force to be reckoned with. They are deploying one to Venezuela. And guess what? They have that supports that. They have air support. You just don't send a battle group in. They have the U.S. Air Force that supports them. So this is an act of war beyond measure. They could damn near take the country with what they're about to do. So keep that in mind. And this is not being talked about all over the news. It's mentioned briefly, but they're not talking about the power that they're about to send in. Now, Officer Yasser made a good point, and we're going to prove it. Play on.
What do you think we should make of this? On the one hand, it's clear that Donald Trump hates Nicolas Maduro. He wants that government gone. He wants to be able to return Venezuelan undocumented.
It certainly looks that way. I mean, ideally, if we're going to send an aircraft carrier battle group, I'd prefer that they pulled into port and enjoyed some liberty down in Venezuela. My limited experience with Venezuelans, they have lots of very nice people. The women are very attractive. The food is good. The weather is nice, but I guess that's not going to happen. But that would be my preference. No, I'm afraid you're right. This business with Venezuela has been going on for a long time. You've got to go, you know that from your own experience in the agency. There have been multiple attempts to manipulate, influence politics down there. Why the president in particular at this point in time is so interested in involving himself down there is a bit of a mystery. We know certain things from history. We know, obviously, that...
Pause. He's about to go. He's about to talk about the history of South America, and he goes on for a little bit, and McGregor is very dry, but he says so much that we need to pay attention to. Play on.
The Venezuelans, the Mexicans, the Cubans, all three of those countries strongly backed the communist cause during the Spanish Civil War. Now, some of that was undoubtedly ideological. It also has to do with the sort of revolutionary down in that part of the world, particularly with Bolivar,
Bolivar. Simon Bolivar.
Yeah, Bolivar revolution that they had. In fact, there's a McGregor who was involved in that, but we won't talk about that right now. He was another rogue mercenary or something that decided to get out there and muck around. Anyhow, the point is that some things never change, and attitudes in those three states are very similar to what they were years ago. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to war with them. Then there's this issue of drugs, which is very odd, because Venezuela is not a quote-unquote drug hub. Do some illicit drugs pass through the country? Sure. They pass through lots of countries. And by the way, contrary to what President Trump is saying, they're still finding their way into the United States. But that's not a point of origin for massive drug production. It certainly isn't a point of origin for fentanyl, which tends to come up from Mexico. The Mexican cartels, obviously, and Mexico is, for all intents and purposes, an organized crime state. I'm not sure why we are so interested in going this far afield to Venezuela when we've got a much bigger problem right on our border.
Pause. So you've got a former Army colonel, advisor to the president in his first term, saying, why are we going to little Venezuela, sending a battle fleet, U.S. naval aircraft battle fleet to Venezuela, when Mexico is a significantly bigger problem with more drugs, and they got a Gulf of America right there. So now he segues to exactly what Officer Yasa said, because when we say it, it's just like, yeah, okay. But when the white man says it, now you got to believe it, okay? And this is his own people don't like this guy for what he says, okay? Play on.
The other thing is that the CIA has been involved down there, as you know, and in 2019 there was a concerted attempt to try and stage a coup and remove the government. Now, we always have to mention that Venezuela is probably, or could be, we don't really know, we think, is the largest has the largest oil reserves of any country in the world. Okay. They're very deep, these reserves, by the way. And it just so happens that we have the best deep drilling capability of any country in the world.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, our oil engineers in general are the best. Now, why do we have to go to war to get to the oil reserves? That's a mystery to me. Even President Trump has stated flatly that Mr. Maduro came to him and made an offer that would have given us a stake in the oil.
Pause. Do me a favor, tech guy. Look up Maduro's offer or Maduro's proposition to the U.S. This was like in the last 2 years, where he actually wanted to make the U.S. business partners. And just look that up because it's in there somewhere, in the internet somewhere. Thomas, I think you're going. Were you going to go to Micah about the covered fields? Where you about to go to? Bring it out.
I was just reading. I was just looking at Nahum 1 and 3.
Bring it out. Bring it out.
Can you read that? I mean Nahum 3 and 1. Nahum chapter 3 verse 1. This also shows that they have this. America follows after Rome. Notice that he said they had a coup. And when you read in 1 Maccabees chapter 8, if you don't go with what America wants, this is what they do. Read the scripture real quick.
This is the book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 1. Woe to the bloody city.
And that's what America is. America is the bloody city. They take everything by force. Read.
It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not.
That's what it is. They're all full of lies and robbery. What we seeing right now is they about to rob. They about to try to rob them. They about to go in there with their military and rob them of their oil. This is what America does, and they do it right in front of our faces. That's all I'm gonna say.
And that's a perfect point because you have to have, what do they call it? A cover story. What is the cover story? What is cover? Cover when you're in a firefight. Cover is to get down to protect yourself. If you're marching, you cover in front of the man. It looks like instead of 20 men coming at you, it looks like there's one man coming at you. The cover story is drugs. The drugs are so terrible. They're coming in. They're dumping all their sane silence in the U.S. They're coming in. They're raping our good women. And he does all that propaganda in the U.S. They actually believe that. There's so much drugs. They're coming in. They're sending all the drugs just from Venezuela. The Mexicans are trying to stop them. They're coming in.
Cap.
Trump is a funny dude, man. You got to like Trump, man. He's a comedic genius.
The witchcraft that they used to put on the people, the mind games that many people can see right through it. They know that us bombing fishing boats, or the United States bombing fishing, I ain't bombing nothing.
Right.
That bombing those fishing boats without any proof, they realize that they're just making up something to cover over the activity, because they're accusing Russia of invading the Ukraine without any legitimate reason. But here you are bombing a sovereign country and saying that it's because of drug cartel. You could have sent the CIA in and cleared that up real easy. So we know by sending so much force in that the United States is really setting up a pretense to go in there and take what they want to take. Has been brought out.
Now, real quick, hold Solomon, hold Micah 2, but Akim pulled up AI is incredible. We wait till next year and the year after that. AI is going to. So, Maduro is the. By the way, Maduro did win the election. He was not cheated in like they'll make you believe. So, what's the AI overview that talks about that Maduro actually wanted to partner and bring forth an offer with all of this capacity in the reserve oil? And watch what basically it says.
Maduro proposition to U.S. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro recently offered concession to the United States, including access to Venezuela's oil and mining industries and redirecting energy exports to the U.S.
Why? Because he said it before. The U.S. has the best oil drilling, the best oil technology. So he said, I'll tell you what, you could probably help us get more of this oil. We could benefit, and you could definitely benefit, right? So watch what it says.
These proposals, reportedly made during secret talks, were aimed at easing escalating tensions and potentially avoiding military conflict.
Because they were putting pressure on them before 2025. And Maduro's like, listen, this is what we can do. Now, read on.
However, the U.S. administration, as of late 2025.
Remember, Donald Trump just was elected and took office in the beginning of 2025. Remember that? Read on.
Rebuffed these concessions and continued to increase sanctions and military actions against the Maduro government.
And as of yesterday, you have a U.S. aircraft battle fleet headed to Venezuela. Now, you can read the proposed concessions in your own. We're going to move on. Just understand, like Officer Yasser made a statement, it is literally, that's exactly what they're doing. Now, the Bible, we've read this a million times. Get Micah 2:1-2. This is literally, this is what Micah was talking about. This is literally what they are doing, okay? They have in councils, they're planning, and then they're thinking of a cover story, and then they're doing. Read this.
The book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity.
To devise is to think things out, to create a plan. If I devise, there was a song called Thinking of a Master Plan. Thinking of a master plan. They think of a master plan, how they can take what they want and deceive everybody. And it's evil. And they do it, like Thomas said, do it in your face where, what can you say? Netanyahu can kill tens of thousands, be brought up on international charges, and they say we don't recognize that and get away with it. This is how we know Job 9:24. The earth is given to them in the hand of the wicked. So this same wicked is, it says the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He has the earth in his hand, and this is what the wicked does with it. Read verse 2 and 1 again.
The book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and worketh evil upon their beds.
Come on.
When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
They got the power to call one of the 11 aircraft carrier battle groups. They got 10 more. I'll tell you what, we got a lot of oil down there, a lot of good oil down there. We're going to send the Navy in. We're going to bomb them up good. And he makes jokes like that, and there's nothing they can do about it. That tell you, Mosai is true. He gave them power. What they're doing, if any other country did that, the U.S. would make an international, a big deal about it, right? And then the U.S., because they say it's valid, and then they would send an international task force in and stop the violence. Tell them, you can't make it up. Read on.
Verse 2. And they covered fields.
So this field, this is a field, all right. And underneath that field is minerals and oil. So they cover not just the field that's on top, they cover the mineral rights. Read on.
And they covered fields and take them by violence.
By what?
By violence.
They're going to take the oil, and there's nothing they could do about it. And we're all going to see it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, on the internet. We're all going to watch it, see how wrong it is, see it happen, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. That's the power of God. He's telling you they have the power. Read on.
And houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
And that's talking about nations. That ain't talking about one this wicked is going to go to one guy's house, take his house, and oppress him and his immediate family. They take whole nations down. So keep that in mind as we move on. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the next. Back to McGregor real quick. He has like 2 more minutes. How's our mics? Is this loud enough? All right. Understood. You're right. He just cut me. If you're not speaking into them, it doesn't go well. Okay. Back to McGregor with the CIA agent.
We don't really know. We think is the largest has the largest oil reserves of any country in the world. Okay. They're very deep, these reserves, by the way. And it just so happens that we have the best deep drilling capability of any country in the world.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, our oil engineers in general are the best. Now, why do we have to go to war to get to the oil reserves? That's a mystery to me. Even President Trump has stated flatly that Mr. Maduro came to him and made an offer that would have given us a stake in the oil and gas reserves. In fact, he characterized Mr. Maduro's offer as essentially everything.
And in fact, that was relatively recent. That was just in the last several months. It looked like there was going to be a breakthrough in relations.
Yeah, so the question is, under those circumstances, why do we need to militarily intervene down there? It's not because we can't. Can we overpower Venezuela militarily? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that challenging. That's not to say that after you've done so, that you're sitting on a gold mine. On the contrary, the big problem is you go into a place like that, there's the risk that you make yourself responsible for everything that happens down there. You ultimately turn it into a bottomless pit for money and resources from the United States at a point in time when I don't think we can afford that or necessarily need to do it.
Okay, pause there because I don't want to continue on. There's another timestamp where McGregor's on judge, right? And he talked 1605 is a timestamp. And he's going to continue on the thought a little on Venezuela still. Excuse me. So keep that in mind. Okay, there we go. So this is McGregor on judge. And now he segues in from talking about the Israelis in Gaza. And actually, they talked about Nigeria at the beginning. And now he goes into Venezuela.
Middle East. They said, don't you understand? We have this $38 trillion sovereign national debt. I said, of course, I understand that. Said, don't you understand that we can collateralize the wealth of resources in Venezuela and that oil and gas wealth in Iran to retire that debt for all intents and purposes? And of course, my response was, how do you collateralize it without conquering it, administering it, and then being accepted as legitimate owners? I mean, this is the sort of thing that happened in the past when armies marched into other countries with the goal of seizing those resources. The only way you could do that was to go in on the ground with vast forces, kill the opposition, and stay there. I said, I don't see any evidence that we can do that. I don't see any evidence that we want to do that as a people. But I think that's on the minds of people in Washington right now.
You mentioned Venezuela, Colonel. Do you know anybody who is a serious thinker, no matter where they are on the ideological spectrum, who accepts this, I'm giving air quotes, narco-terrorist nonsense as the reason for an enormous...
So Officer, that's what you mentioned. You brought it out. And that's really, like you said, people are getting wise to what the hell's going on, Officer.
That witchcraft just ain't working no more, especially with the current information network that's out there. People can talk around the world, and everybody is investigating all of this. And you could see people from all walks are waking up, and that's the problem.
It's a big problem
for the administration.
So we're gonna carry on. One thing about when you watch this type of news, he's not a exciting personality, but the facts that he brings. That's what they want. They want you to get you with every 7 seconds. They change your camera. Sometimes you need to sit, listen, and study what people are saying. Play on.
Build up outside of Venezuela?
No, it's what you call a cover story. we have to go in because it's the only way to defeat narco-terrorism. Everybody forgets that for at least the last 30 years, we've had a substantial U.S. Army Special Operations and Special Forces presence in Colombia. We did make progress from time to time. We did assist governments there to essentially pacify, if not suppress, the drug trade. But we don't own it, and we can't afford to take it and own it. And so ultimately what happens? You fail. You cannot change a society and a state to suit your needs, whatever they are. And that's the problem. We don't seem to want to believe that. And you've got an administration right now with the president who really believes that bullying tactics work, that's how you get what you want. Even though you and I have been talking, and Larry Johnson and Scott Ritter and everybody else now for how long, how many years? We haven't seen any evidence that trying to bully the Russians works. We haven't seen any evidence that we're bullying the Iranians.
That's good on Venezuela. What time is it? 10:38. Go to number 4. Or did we didn't cover 4. Go to number 4.
And to Officer Yasser's point, can I get real quick Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1? Because he brought out that all of these nations are starting to see that the problem is America. America is behind everything. They sit behind everything and they pull the strings. And the scriptures talk about the other nations starting to see that, look, they are the problem. We need to, that's why bricks and all of these other things are forming. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
You know that Babylon is the so-called white man, America. When you read Psalms 137, read on.
Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans.
Read.
For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
America is no longer called tender and delicate because everybody sees the evil that they put out amongst the whole earth. America is behind all atrocities in the earth. Jump down to verse 3 now.
Verse 3. Thy nakedness.
The nakedness is the sins that America is behind. All of these coups and everything that goes down. Read on.
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
That God says the nakedness, the sins, the drunkenness, the wine, the fornication that all of these countries in, it's going to be shown. America's evil is going to be shown. Read it again.
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen.
The shame of America is being seen amongst all these other nations. And now everybody is seeing that America is the evil behind all of this stuff.
Hey, to go with Officer Thomas, the same prophet, get Isaiah 14. It's very, we know this because we like this is the scripture that says when the roles reverse. But get verse 14, is this the man? Let me see. Start at verse 11.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 11.
Let's put it this way. If Venezuela did not have resources, nor minerals and oil, there would be no need to send a battle fleet. Let's not mistake it. We all can see it, but here's the thing. There's going to come a time when all nations are going to say, this is the guy, the one that we were so scared of, the one that attacked our sovereignty or our sovereignness. Read.
Verse 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee.
That means death is coming to him. When worms spread under thee, that means you done. You're being eaten alive. Like I had a cat that died the other day, a stray cat, and I had to bury him. And he got rigor mortis. Rigor mortis sets in, the whole body turns stiff. And already the ants started, because we found that my wife said, okay, then I put a little sheet over him. I had to dig the heart next day, and ants started to go in his mouth. And then when the worms come up, they start to eat you up, right? Read.
And the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
Right. Heaven is the rulership. This man can talk and joke, and Maduro comes to him and says, look, Trump out of his, hey, this is like everything. We'll give you interest. We'll let you do what you want to avoid sanctions, to avoid embargoes, to avoid military, and they still do it anyways. They take what they want. Read on.
Son of the morning, How art thou cut down to the ground, which this weakened the nations?
That's the point. They weakened the nations. They weakened the nations. That's why the name of the show is The West is going to take the whole West. Now, we go back to that. Oh, number 4. This is Lena Petrova. She is actually an economist, geopolitics, but she is going to talk about minerals, oil, and gas. Timestamp, there's 2 of them. They're relatively short.
Back everyone, thank you so much for being here. For much of the last half century, the idea of using energy as a political weapon had faded into history. The 1973 Arab oil embargo, which sent shockwaves through the global economy, convinced nations on both sides of the energy equation, producers and consumers alike, that energy coercion was a very dangerous game, and of course it is. Out of that crisis came an international consensus to build more resilient energy systems, to create transparent markets, and also to ensure that no single country could again strangle the global economy by cutting off supply. The creation of the International Energy Agency, the rise of oil futures markets, and the spread of LNG networks all reinforced this new stability. And for decades it worked. For decades, the world believed that it had outgrown the age of the energy weapon. But that illusion is now fading. It is collapsing. The United States has used energy as leverage. It pressures its allies to purchase American LNG or face trade tariffs. From Canada to Venezuela, energy has once again become a geopolitical tool. With the possible invasion of Venezuela looming, one has...
So this was 3-4 days ago. She mentioned with the potential invasion of Venezuela looming in talks. Well, as of today, it is coming to pass. They're sending them in, and that's the image of the battle of the aircraft carrier battle fleet. Okay, so these things, and it's all for energy, because energy. Remember, they had the whole thing with the Green New Deal, and they were trying to go everything solar and wind turbines and all that, and they realized it's not going to work. Because the resources that you need just to create the chips and the lithium and the various types of batteries, you have to have rare earth. And China controls all that. Now they're trying to shift what's going on. Hence now, like Officer Yasa said, now they need Venezuela. Why? Number one, it's a lot closer than shipping it all the way in from the Middle East. You're right there in the Gulf of America, right there at the bottom of it. Okay? Play on.
What role does the country's vast oil reserves have to do with such extreme form of offensive posturing by the United States on the shores of Venezuela? By the way, Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserve.
Y'all break this down. Let's look at this. This is heavy. Hakeem wants to go to break after, but y'all look at this.
And it proves what we're saying without a doubt, because what you're looking at is all of these. Except Canada. Well, they're giving Canada hell too. But all of these countries have mass resources, and we're at conflict with every one of them.
And notice that the BBBL, that's billions of barrels. That's what that BBBL mean. That's billions of barrels of oil.
Hey, let's look at these stats. So Venezuela, right? When you think of oil, if you didn't think of Venezuela, you think of Saudi Arabia. The princes of Saudi, they dip their toes in oil. You can go out in the middle of the oil and dig a hole and oil will come up. Venezuela has tens of billions of barrels more than even Saudi, even Iran. Look at the number. The rest of the world outside of Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Canada, Iraq, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Russia, U.S., and Libya, the rest of the world together, so all of the many, many other dozens, and they only have 244 total, which is not even, it's somewhat close to Saudi Arabia. So Venezuela, again, when the U.S. takes that oil, guess what? Now they have energy dominance, which gives them the positioning globally. That's what Lena Petrova is talking about. And look, it's funny, and this is not funny, it's strategic. The United Arab Emirates is controlled by the United States. Iraq, that's why they went to Iraq 1 and Iraq 2. That's why they set up Kuwait, because Kuwait is attached to Iraq. Canada, that's like, somebody just said it. Canada, we're giving them hell. Officer Yasser said it. Then you have Kuwait, Russia. 80, that's really nothing. They're at war with Russia. Libya, they control Libya. Are you kidding me? That's North Africa. Nobody cares about Libya. The U.S. has to control energy because they can't compete with China in the rare earth minerals and the other things that they're doing with technology. That's where we open up with the first article. They are concerned with national security in their technology. They're dependent on parts from foreign countries. They need to get leverage back. That's why they want control of Venezuela. Okay? Hey, that's in the scriptures. Get toe will be dipped with oil. Get that. That's in the scriptures. I forgot about that. Let me see. I'll find it. Get the next time state. Y'all see. Let me see if I can find somebody.
You know what's
bring it out.
What's kind of, I don't want to say strange, but what's obvious is this is a long-term plan. Because remember, during the Biden administrations, when they were building all of these new gas facilities over here before the Nord Stream pipeline got blown up. So that was during the Biden administration, and Trump is just doing a continuation of what's been going on from Biden, then he was in before that. And so this is a long-term objective to really control the resources of the whole planet, or control the nations of the planet by the resources that you control.
Yes, that's it. So there's prophecy about that. When Jacob gathered, I thought it was Genesis. It's probably Deuteronomy 33. Look where it says, let me see real quick. Let me look at it. It's not Benjamin. It should be Asher. Yep, Thomas did show me that. Deuteronomy 30. Okay. Start at verse. Yeah. Start at verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33 and verse 1. And this is the blessings wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death.
Come on.
And he said, the Lord came from Sinai.
Okay. No, Jacob started that. That's Genesis 49. Anyways, nonetheless, it's talking about the children of Israel, and he's going to go into start at verse. He starts with Reuben in verse 6, 24. You said, read 24.
Verse 24. And of Asher, he said.
Now, Asher, pull up the map of South America. I did ask y'all to get maps for me, please. Pull up a map of South America. South America. Okay? Now, if you look, and we look Brazil, look at the size of Brazil. We're going to get into Brazil in a minute. If I was a military general looking to conquer the Western Hemisphere, and I lived north of this continent, I would want to stop and get a position in the north of that country. Look who's at the center north of that country, Venezuela. Guess who else is at the north? Colombia, and Colombia is siding with Venezuela. Now, later on the show, after break, I know we're going to break, Akiem, Brazil, which is the largest economy in all of Latin America, to include South and Central, all these different problems are happening in Brazil right now. Very, very interesting. And guess what Brazil happens to have as we get on later? A lot of rare earth minerals. Very interesting. So look, y'all stick around, Israel. We're going to go to break, short commercial break, come back for the second half of the show. Shalom. Stick around, y'all.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Most High in Christ bless. Why do you subscribe? IUIC New Orleans, subscribe. Go to our YouTube page. Help us to grow. Comment, like, share. What's going on? Make it happen.
So we know that Jesus was not a black man. I don't care what false doctrine. I don't care about no Hebrew Israelite. We know that Jesus was not a black man.
Raise up the black image of Christ. Give me the black image of Jesus Christ. You say nobody's ever seen Christ. Well, how did he die on the cross?
That's what I see with most black and Hispanic people. Because they know that there's a persecution that's going to come when they stand up for truth.
You are the people that Isaiah prophesied about. You are living in history right
right now, you are living prophecy right now. Prophesied of you hypocrite. Of you what? Hypocrite. You are hypocrite.
Our people have lost their mind. They actually think that we're against Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is black, and our people need to know better. And hopefully we can teach our people the truth so that they can come out of that ignorance and out of that psychological damage that they have been suffering up underneath the vice of white supremacy Christianity. Israel, you're going to learn one way or the other. The kingdom is coming whether you're ready for it or not.
And Shalom Israel, Most High Christ bless. Bishop Kanai here. We're here in LA to taste the soul. Once again, we're here to redeem the souls of God's people, to bring the word to them. In the midst of this chaos, with all this music and all this rap on the Lord's Day, we will teach them the word of God. Either they hear or they prepare, but they will hear the word of God and the power of God.
Guess where I'm at? I am in L.A., Los Angeles, on the West Coast, on the corner of Crenshaw and 39th Street. Listen, we out here to taste the soul. The prophets is bringing it out. A lot of our people have never encountered us. They have no idea what an Israelite is. They don't know the truth at all. They sleep here. So we gotta hit these streets. West Coast, we need more of you.
Be a hypocrite, brother. Listen to what Jesus said. For they love to pray, standing in the synagogue, and in the corner of the street. Where we at right now? On the corner of the street. You a hypocrite according to the Bible.
The word is going forth. I just got to talking to people, teaching the people, letting them know who they are, what they got to do, repent, letting them know that the Sabbath day was changed by the white man, and our people don't know this stuff.
The problem that we have in our community is sin. So the way we brought all these brothers together, because a lot of these men that are with us when the Million Man March happened in '95, they wasn't alive. We can still continue to do this, but we need a blueprint, we need a plan, we need the brilliant minds, all the dynamic speakers for us to come together and put those brilliant thoughts that they spoke about up here on stage, because I was listening to them, and we gotta find out a blueprint, a plan. That's how we rise when we see our king, when we see our salt in the Bible. So that's how we brought these young men out the streets, out of gangs, off of drugs, out of stopping men from letting their women go to the abortion clinic, teaching these men to become husbands, to become fathers, to become brothers, to put down the drugs, to put down the guns. And we gave them a sense of identity and morality. That's the blueprint. That's what we're doing to make things work.
All praises. Welcome back. Precept upon precept. Throw that thumbnail real quick. For those of you who may jump on, the West, in quotation, that's talking about America, Babylon the Great, is taking the whole West, meaning the whole Western Hemisphere. First half of the show, we showed you about the BS cover-up that it's drugs in Venezuela. They're sending their prisoners. They're sending them up here. They're killing our innocent American children. And he plays on the what's probably there's several cases of that. There's probably more serial killers that are born and raised in this country that kill people than the Venezuelan prison release people that have been released from their prisons allegedly. Anyways, so let's get to Brazil. I have some Brazil.
And what people don't realize is everybody else, like you notice, they say, oh, the government, these employees are being furloughed. Right. This dude raging a full-out attack on Venezuela. And you never hear about the army who's not getting paid furloughed. You got a whole war going on. And they I guess, are they fighting for free?
Okay, is this 5, Akim? Okay. So whatever you have on the screen, this right here. So I wanted to show y'all. Look at this real quick. So also, we're going to get into Brazil, right? So when you look at the South American countries, and I just did an arbitrary search because I wanted to see. Because there's an old saying, if you want to know the real news, you got to follow the money, right? So I said to myself, if China controls all of the rare earth minerals, right? So then I said, well, the U.S. needs to get control of it. They can't beat China because Russia is aligned with them, and they're landlocked with them. I said, then I said, okay. So then I looked up, and Brazil happened to be one of those countries. Now, you were going to find out a little later on, there's turmoil in Brazil at the government level. Interesting how it's happening now at the same time that they're sending a battle carrier group, aircraft carrier group, with 2,500 Marines, by the way, Marines attached to that, to the shores of Venezuela because of alleged drugs that were coming in, right? In the name of the cover story of, we got to stop the drugs. They're dumping their prisoners. They're going on a 1,200-mile journey through mountains and ravines. They're coming in and killing American children. They're raping the women. Okay? Read that.
South American countries with significant mineral deposits include Chile, Peru, Brazil, and Argentina.
Now watch this.
Which are leading producers of copper.
So during the break, Officer Yasa, before I even brought this article out, he just said something, and please bring it out, because you said something that's very important, because that copper is instrumental.
That's instrumental in all your semiconductors and everything. And the United States, the West is trying to get control of that, because remember, China did that with their minerals, and they're trying to do the reverse to them because China needs that copper as well. There is some copper in Indochina, but the majority of it is in South America, and they're trying to cut it off. Not only the oil, they're trying to get the resources. And who controls the resources controls the world.
Big facts. Big facts. Go back to that AI overview. And again, this is going to show you. And by the way, we're going to read later, Brazil is the largest economy in all of Latin America. That includes Central and all of South America. So as we get later on, you're going to understand why all of a sudden these things happening. Again, the U.S. has trained personnel that are designed to go in and create confusion and train armies and raise up opposition to the governing bodies and train them up in warfare to and fund them as well, okay, to overthrow and topple governments, okay? They're known as the CIA. They're known as the Green Berets, which are an elite. I believe they're Tier 1 or Tier 2 special forces. They got also, Delta Force is a whole nother level. They're more hostage rescue. But there's elite groups that we don't know hell of a lot about that have special missions to do just what we heard before, which is destabilize and take over and topple governments, okay? Read.
Which are leading producers of copper, lithium, and iron ore. Brazil is also notable for its large reserves of iron ore and rare earth elements.
Rare earth elements. Remember that. Rare. I have an article for that. Please get that in. I thought I had one. Come on, man. Okay, 8. I have it. 8. Number eight. It's Wikipedia now. People say Wikipedia can be changed. Okay, but some of the stuff is all right. So we're going to read about rare earth elements. Because remember, Brazil has a noteworthy, supply beneath the earth of elements that can be used for semiconductors, microchips, processors, military technological weapons, munitions, advanced munitions. Okay, Michael mentioned about the enriched uranium. Okay, so all of that Brazil is rich in. Read.
The rare earth elements, also called rare earth metals or rare earths, are a set of 17 nearly indistinguishable, lustrous, silvery, white, soft, heavy metals. The 15 lanthanides, and or lanthanides, along with scandium and yttrium.
Okay, to save because it's hard to read that, I want you to go down to the last two paragraphs. No, I'm sorry, where it says China dominates. Why is this important? Because Donald Trump and the United States of America is a falling empire. And when you realize that, like Officer Thomas mentioned about BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and a whole host of other countries that are partner and waiting to get on board, and the global South, which is these Asian countries, they now are not playing to the tune of a monopoly. It is a shared power. Trump is consolidating power in the entire Western Hemisphere, and it's strategic. All we got to do is open our eyes. Read from China.
China dominates the rest of the world in terms of rare earth elements, reserves, and productions. In 2019,
so 6 years ago, read on.
In 2019, it supplied around 90% of the global demand.
Officer Solomon, I know you have glasses. Can you read that again? You said 90%. Read it again.
It supplied around 90% of the global demand.
I'm going to get my Bishop Yahweh some. 90%. Do you understand? 90% for the whole globe. That means if you took up 100% of the earth, 90%, think about a pie, right? I know John eats a lot of pie. If you took a big pie and gave John 90%, still wouldn't be enough, but 90% of that pie, China controls that. You got to understand how powerful of a position they're in. Why? Because they're not using carburetors in cars anymore. Everything is electronic. Everything is microchip. Everything is advanced hypersonic missions. The metals that they use they're different. This is a different world we live in. Read it again.
It supplied around 90% of the global demand for the 17 rare earth powders.
17, and we know that Brazil has a lot of them. Watch this. Come on.
The Chinese government has placed restrictions on its supply and sales of rare earth elements since around 2010 for various reasons.
Why? Because they understand that in order for them to defend their sovereignty, they had to do what? They had to limit what they were going. This is why they're trying to limit some of the rare earth elements being exported to the United States. Hence, the U.S. has to look abroad to take more stuff. Read on.
After United States President Donald Trump escalated the trade war with China in 2025.
They won't let us sell our Fords in China. They got all Japan's got all the cars. They got all the cars coming in. We're gonna put 120% tariff on them. We're winning the war. He's a theatrical genius. Read on.
China introduced further restrictions, leading other countries with reserves to step up their exploration and production efforts.
That's a nice way to say. Think what it says. Leading other countries, so the U.S. is one of those other countries, right, with reserves to step up their exploration and production. Guess what? Brazil has a lot of exploration that needs to be done. So what better than the U.S. to go in and say you have an unstable government, we put up a puppet government, and now we can explore and begin to produce the minerals that you have for the 17 REE. Pay attention, y'all. No one's talking about Brazil right now. Nobody's talking about it. Brazil is as important, if not more, than Venezuela. Venezuela is the shoe-in, and they want Venezuela, no doubt about it, but they want Brazil. Watch this. Read on.
As of 2025, the U.S. and Myanmar produce the second and third highest amounts of rare earth elements.
Pause, but here's the thing. There's a big difference because the U.S. has the second, right, or the third rather, the second, and the third would be Myanmar if you read it in the same way. Here's the thing. China has mastered the way to harvest and produce and manufacture. The U.S. have what they call a lot of like if you want to drill for natural gas, there's a lot of lobbying politically. Oh, you can't do that. There's all smog in California. You can't have a Cadillac converter. The U.S. makes it so difficult for companies to do the exploration, even though they have it underneath the ground. But here's the thing. If the U.S. goes and does that, Brazil's not going to give them opposition. They don't give a damn about putting smog in there. They don't give a damn about drilling. They don't give a damn about the neighbors. You can't do that in my neighborhood. We're going to rally. And they stop the production. That's why they can't drill off the East Coast. They don't drill off the West Coast like they do in the Gulf of America. So, again, it goes back to like Thomas said, Officer Thomas, taking resources. That's what they're doing. Read on.
But Brazil and India have the second and third largest reserves of the metals.
Did you hear that? But Brazil and India. So Brazil and India have the second. So Brazil has the second largest reserves of metals. So when you look at oil, the U.S. has a lot of places it can get oil. But when it comes to the reserves of precious metals under the ground, it has to take Brazil. I'm telling y'all watch what's going to happen. And they're going to keep it in the sideline. They're not going to you have to search it out. Just type in current events in Brazil. Now, type in next on Brazil, please. I believe I want it. Yes, number 7. And I think you pulled 6 already, right, Akiem? Did you pull 6? Okay, we're going to 7. Remember, you got to follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money and how you go about getting the money. That's how you're going to get the truth of the news, Read.
Reuters. Brazil's trade surplus boosted in October by exports of key commodities.
So wait a minute. Brazil is booming by exporting, meaning taking stuff that they have and sending it to other countries. Interesting. Read on.
Brazil's trade surplus jumped 70.2% in October from the same month.
Okay, I want you to understand how much of a growth that is. When you jump in 1 year time, so October 2024, October 25, it went up 70.2%. That is astonishing, okay? That is incredible. Read on.
From the same month last year, official data showed on Thursday, beating economists' estimates.
All I want is the next 2 sentences. I want you to look at what this says, right? And look at this next statement and get ready to pull up the map of Brazil, please. I want South America and then Brazil maps. Read that.
Latin America's largest economy posted a $7 billion trade surplus for October, above the $6.2 billion expected by economists polled by Reuters.
Excellent job. Now, let's pull that map. Look at South America first. Okay. Look at the sheer size of Brazil. Look at this. Look at the coastline. If I am a military, how much of an excellent look at all the naval bases I could set up. Let's really think about that. Look at all the mountainous, look at the Amazon, look at the rivers, look at the waterways, look at the connectivity. Again, the coastline. Okay, the resources that they have in metals is the number 2 reserve in the world. It's right there. Hence, another thing we're not paying attention to. It is on the border and landlocked with Venezuela. So keep that in mind. Now, get the map of just Brazil.
Just think they always like to do what you call trial runs. So if everything goes good in Venezuela, they're gonna go right on into Brazil.
And,
Facts.
and to that point, when I spent time down in South America, a lot of brothers, they go into they call it the interior, and they actually look for gold. And it's a process they were telling us about. They use look up cyanide, because the gold, when they pull it out, they explain. I remember this. It has cobalt attached to it, so they have to use cyanide to separate. That's what, to Cap's point, like here in America, they can get away with this because it literally destroys the soil. It kills the wild. It's terrible. Like that raw waste, it destroys water, the animals, all of that stuff, because China's out there doing it. They don't give a damn. They just go in and they say, hey, we found the gold. They take the cyanide to cut the cobalt out of it, and they put that junk right back into the earth. You can look it up. It destroys everything.
You get that for Micah? Did you get it for him?
They don't know how to spell cyanide.
Okay.
They went to public school.
Get that. There you go.
CYANIDE.
Highly poisoned. Damn.
Yeah.
Cyanide is a group of fast-acting, highly poisonous chemicals that can be a colorless gas, a liquid, or a white crystal powder.
Just look real quick for time's sake. Gold cut from cobalt. Just type it in and look at that process. It said
it there. It said about electroplating and the use with gold. So
okay,
that's what they do.
So when they use, it's like and the brothers, they do it like they quick with it. Like they find the gold. That's how they get paid. They find the gold. They take the cyanide to get the cobalt off of it. 'Cause people think you just go in and just find a piece of gold. No, it don't work that way. Our people have to be smart to do that.
You said it. Let's read that. I think it said it right there. Yeah. Yes, you said it said it right.
Yeah.
Read it, Solomon.
Okay. Cyanide is a group of fast-acting, highly poisonous chemicals that can be a colorless gas, a liquid, or a white crystal powder. It is used in industrial processes like electroplating and gold extraction.
Yep, that's it.
So y'all see that. So again, with all the red tape and policies in place to protect the environment and things in the U.S., but Brazil is such a large country. The U.S. goes down there, takes it, sets up destabilization. They don't care about using cyanide. They don't care about none of that. Okay, and this is why we gotta follow the money. The money is in energy and resources, and that's where you're gonna find the U.S. making this move in the name of it's a bad. They can't handle it. Now, that was 7, right? We're going along. Do me a favor. Get me the next. Is it? Let me see. What's the next one? What is the next one? Did we read 8? I don't want 9. Do me a favor. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. This is. You might say, well, why are you talking about this? We're about to talk about there's a big police raid where like 121 people died in Brazil, and you might say, what does that have to do with minerals in Brazil and the U.S. trying to go into Brazil? I'm gonna show you what I did. Read the article in number 9. Okay. You gotta pay. If I wanted, I have to make it look like this place is terrible. Okay, just like right now, today Donald Trump says, if you Nigerians keep killing good Christian folks with black Christians, right? We're gonna come in there, we're gonna fight with guns blazing, we're gonna be very bad. This happened today, Nigeria. You want to know why he cares about black Christians now? Because Nigeria has a lot of resources that the U.S. would be great to take control of. Okay, we can get into that. Well, we might be getting into next week. Read that.
Brazil to seek independent inquiry into deadly police raid that killed 121 people.
Damn.
Brazilian president.
So let's think about it. Remember what Donald Trump said earlier today. He said, if your government cannot control people from killing innocent Christians, we'll send the U.S. forces in. Now Brazil has 121 people die. And then something else happens. Brazil can't control the government. Innocent people are dying. Now the U.S. has to get involved because it's an international crisis. Meanwhile, over 67 or 70,000 predominantly women and children are dying. People are protesting all across the world. They're being brought up on international charges. You got humanitarian rights groups saying that it is genocide. Genocide scholars are saying this is white scholars. This is a full-blown genocide, not 121, 70,000, and then another 100,000 injured. And nobody's holding them accountable. Showing you, again, the earth is controlled by the wicked. Who's the wicked? It tells you that. The Israelis, backed by Babylon the Great. Okay? Just follow the money, follow what's going on, and you're going to, where the smoke, you're going to find the fire. Okay?
And Cap, the people they
Bring it
killed up were, one of the groups were the Favors. I can't read and look up, too. The Favors were informal settlements often called slums or shanty towns found in and around Brazil City, typically built on the hillside skirts. While I can't see, typically built on hillside skirts, but it gets down to these became popular after slavery was ended. So now we know who the people is they killed up the other day. They're former people that were enslaved. That was it, Cap.
Hey, so again, we're not going to read the whole article, but understand when you see 121 people, that's significant casualties. And what it does is it sends a message that they cannot control the people. Now, here's the thing. You could have mass shootings in the U.S., but the U.S., again, runs the whole free world and dictates policy everywhere. So let's read, read the first article pretty quick. First paragraph, please.
Brazil's president, Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, has said his government will seek an independent investigation into what he called a disastrous police massacre that left at least 121 people dead.
So if they launch an independent investigation, that means that you have other organizations that are going to look at the data, the facts. So it's a massacre. Okay, read on.
4 officers and at least 117 others were killed when police launched a major assault on 2 of Rio's largest clusters of favelas.
Now, Obsiasa just brought it out, just for the audience can see. Can we actually put that up there and type in Brazil's favelas? I think we said that right. And let's see let's see if we get some images. I want, like, obviously, let's get some images. Who are the people that are dying? Are they Caucasian, fair, bright-skinned Brazilians? Who are these people that live in the, read that.
A favela is a type of low-income community or shanty town in Brazil.
So it's in the U.S., we call them ghettos. In Spanish places, they call them barrios. Okay, in Jamaica, they call them yards. Let's look at, so like Obsiasa mentioned. Come on, John. What the hell's going on there? Okay, do me a favor. Type in images. I want to see images because we're going to see what the people look like. Look how crowded those. Look at that. Hey, type in the City of God. You gotta watch that movie, The City of God, and make you cry, man. I think City of God is depressing. These are some ghettos right here. This reminds me of South Africa right here. This is horrible. There's no building codes here. Look, I want you to look at that. Click on an image. Will they allow you to do that? So these are the ghettos of Brazil. Okay?
Damn.
That's tight. That you want to talk about tight living, man.
That's a ghetto. That's where the Jews live.
Those are the Jews in Brazil. Okay? And this happened, and this was in a very short period of time, 121 people. So what happens is that's the first wave. Something else happens. Now the whole country needs an American involvement. And just so happy while we're here, we could always manage your second largest deposit of REE. And the fact that you have a great coastline. That would be great for my military bases, Donald Trump. Okay, and watch, I'm telling you, you never go and say you want to take the big carrot. Venezuela has the oil, don't get me wrong, but look, pull up the map of South America. Look at the difference between Brazil. What do you think is more valuable to them? Now, Venezuela's got a lot of oil, but you don't think Brazil has oil too? You don't think Brazil has oil too? You're trying to tell me. Now, I know Venezuela's got oil, but the largest country in the bottom of the whole doggone huge, the largest country in all of South America, doesn't have not only rare earth elements, but oil itself. And what if there's oil that they have that no one's saying anything about that's tripled Venezuela and happens to be in Brazil that we find out later on, just so happens to be there? Look at that. Y'all pay attention. They're coming with the cloak of Venezuela. I mean, they do have resources, and everyone is knowing somewhat about that. But nobody's talking about Brazil. Interesting. Very interesting. Play on or read on.
4 officers and at least 117 others were killed when police launched a major assault on 2 of Rio's largest clusters of favelas.
So it said 2 of Rio's. So, like Osiasa pointed out, and he pulled that up. These are ghettos where the Jews live. Now, do me a favor. Can you type in people of the favelas and get images? We need to. I'm telling you, it's all by design. The same thing that ICE is doing with the Northern Kingdom, and now they're trickling in and going into project buildings in Chicago, Illinois, where predominantly black folks live. It's the same thing that's going to happen. Look at the favelas. Let's look at the images of the people. These are the people that got killed. Okay? Let's look at them. By the way, Brazil has the largest population of black people in the entire Western Hemisphere. Much more than Haiti, much more than the U.S. Look at them. Those are our people right there. That's the East Indian right there. But why would the police shoot up 100 people, of the poor people? I mean, what could they be doing that would cause the police to just go in and mass murder them? This is, as Cap is bringing out, is to insinuate that they got problems that need help. The government can't control the people.
That's it.
And here's the thing. So again, you can't, a country that's the largest economy in all of Latin America, Venezuela is a much smaller country, right? They have to create and build a case before they do something, okay? And this is what I'm showing you. Just watch what's going to build up in Brazil. No, people are not talking about. And here's the other thing. Pull up BRICS. BRICS was one of the 5 founding members. They have an alliance with Russia, India, and China, and Iran now. They have an alliance with them. So for the U.S. to take Brazil, which is in the Western Hemisphere, they have to be very strategic. Look at that. Okay? The current members, new members, okay? Iran, Saudi is not, that's inaccurate. Saudi is not in, he's not a member yet. They were invited to bid. They did not follow through. But you still have Iran. Okay, look at that. Hey, interesting. I did not know Argentina. Pull up a map of South America, please. I don't think I think that may be inaccurate. I don't think Argentina, they had a political change of guard. Type in BRICS 2025. See if Argentina is a member. I think that's an inaccurate map you have. And if it is, then we're going to use it, because I don't think Argentina. Pull an article real quick. You just pulled an image that anybody could, let's see.
Hold up. Current members. Just give us a second, y'all. Yeah. It's that's inaccurate. So it does not have it is not just leave it alone, right? Just leave it. Can you leave it alone? Just leave it right there. I want to scroll up a little bit, bro. Please. I know it's late. Okay. Leave it, you see where it says current members? Can you just leave it on where so the whole screen? Yeah. Right there. There you go. Brazil, Russia. So it's not. So that's inaccurate. It's not Argentina. Thank you, Solomon. All right, let's move on. We're getting ready to close out soon. Bear with me.
Argentina, they sent the jackals in. They changed their mind.
Right. hey, Yasser, what you said is true because they had a Democratic president that was going. Then they went and they changed. The government, the president changed parties, and then they changed their vote. They were on board to become a member, and that would have been detrimental. The U.S. had something to do with that because look now. Pull up South American map again real quick. Look at this map. If Argentina were to get on board, there goes the neighborhood. Pull up a map of South America.
Remember, Bishop Yalsa went over and said they send in the people and say, hey, look, we want you to play our game.
Yep.
We can make you very rich, or your plane will blow up.
You could be this person,
right?
Or you could be that person. So they send in the jackals.
Think about that. If Argentina was going to become a member and it was a political decision and the U.S. had something to do with it, like Officer Mike and Officer Yasser just mentioned, if you got Argentina and Brazil, guess what? Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, they are soon to follow.
They're gonna follow a lot.
And by the way, Venezuela is against the U.S. because they're going to be invaded.
Right.
So, and then do me a favor. I pulled a TikTok video that showed Russian jets coming into Venezuela. Russia has sent their version of, I don't want to say C-130, their version of large commercial airliners with troops and munitions over to Venezuela. I sent you a video. It's a TikTok. I don't know if you can play it. You should be able to play it.
Some of them troops they sent in was Russia's elite. The ones from Belgrade.
Like a Spetsnaz, I think that's what they call them. I think Spetsnaz, that's their special forces.
Yes.
Maybe I didn't send it. I thought I sent a TikTok video. Okay, watch this.
And breaking tonight, more troubling news in our own hemisphere. 2 Russian jets touching down in Venezuela this weekend, reportedly carrying dozens of Russian troops, along with a Russian defense official.
Right, pause real quick. And Yasser, you got a great point. You don't send 36 or 3 dozen troops that are the fat cooks or the you send what Micah said. You send those guys that can you send their version of the Green Berets and the special ops guys that can start training people, start filling out, go in, blend in with the society. These guys, Russia's not stupid. And here's the thing. Russia's doing that because they can now. Why? Because the U.S. can't touch them on the battlefield. They had the Orishnik. They are, we did a show months ago where a military strategist came on and said that Russia is 10 years ahead of missile technology over the United States. They're a generation ahead, they said. It's ridiculous. They have the Orishnik, which can go up in the air at hypersonic speeds, go up and not be tracked or shot down, and then distribute multiple 6, 7 bombs. Boom, 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 boom. We showed it on. Pull up the Orishnik, please. The Orishnik and their missile technology is the reason why they can do that today. They sent Russian troops to the Western Hemisphere right yesterday or 2 days ago. Watch the Orishnik, and you could do a video. Watch this. Get a short one, real short one. I know it's getting late. People getting tired. It's going to show. This is the difference between Russia and the U.S. They have this.
About 160 Russian oil sites this year, causing a severe blow to Kremlin's energy infra and majorly its crude oil capacity. Now, according to Security Service of Ukraine head Vasyl Malyuk, Ukrainian troops have destroyed Russia's launch systems for the 3 Orishnik ballistic missiles from the Astrakhan region. Now, SBO has further said that the mission was 100% successful.
Operation.
Remember, the Kremlin recently announced the deployment of its
So pause.
Orishnik
So
missile.
it's an intermediate range ballistic missile, but it has, so an ICBM is an intercontinental, right? So they're now able to take this missile and reach other countries, and with the ability to shoot at speeds where you can't shoot it down, and then strike like you would ICBM with conventional munitions to destroy specific targets in a different radius. So you shoot one missile up that can't be stopped, and then you can guide the missiles down with satellites and hit spots so fast, it's going to show you it goes up, and then when it reaches its destination, it drops. Boom, 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 boom. It's like someone stepping down, and it's so fast. Play that.
System in Belarus. Moscow claims that the missile, which means hazel tree in Russian, is capable of Mach speeds of 10 plus and near
Real
zero
quick, so
intercept.
you heard that? So I was wrong. 6 warheads, Mach 10. Look up how fast Mach 10 is, tech guy, on a separate screen. Mach 10, and it has the ability to shoot 6 warheads and go 5,500 kilometers, which is not, it's not 5,500 miles. It's probably like 3,700 miles. Nonetheless, from Russia, you can hit Europe and all parts of Europe with non-nuclear warheads that could destroy parts of cities, key parts of cities, from a remote control and not get shot down. This is why they have Russian troops comfortably landed, unchecked, in Venezuela. Go ahead, Thomas.
And I was just about to ask, is this the newest one? Because I just seen that they got a newer one. It's the first nuclear-powered missile.
Oh no, that's another one.
This is something new.
That's the new one.
It's called Burvsnik.
The Baruchnik.
Baruchnik.
That right there. Listen, we need to do we're going to do a show on Russian technology, because that right there can be launched from. Listen to this. But the Baruchnik can be launched underwater, stay stationary, circle around the ocean, wait for orders, and it's so silent that it cannot be tracked.
And see that,
go ahead. Bring it up.
That's what's gonna get that fleet hemmed up. The ones they keep just running them into Venezuela, and they think they can just roll in unchecked. But hey, Russia got to protect their interests too. So they sending in people to survey and see what's going on. You can send whatever fleet you want, but guess what? If BRICS is if Venezuela is aligned with Russia,
right?
Russia gonna protect. They gonna do what they got to do to protect the investment.
And here's the other thing. Brazil is in BRICS. Again, Brazil is a huge country. How do you know that Russia doesn't even have missiles set up in Brazil? Let's really think about that. Look at the size of Brazil. The most making things happen. For us to read in Isaiah with 845 subscribe bases that they let us know about in the U.S., all around the world. And the power that they have to dominate and to set those bases up. For Isaiah to say, is this the man that did weaken the nations? Something is going to have to collaborate at a level we cannot imagine. For this place to be destroyed, they're going to be destroyed from all over. So now I'm not saying it's going to be from Brazil, but for them to, let's think about it. The boldness, they should have learned from Cuba. They had Russian ships that was on their way, and they had missiles in Cuba, right?
Yes, sir.
That was over 64, 5 years ago. Now they're back with airplanes this time, troops, ammunitions in Venezuela. In this climate, when you know this is going down, and they show the jet landing, why the U.S. knows they got to watch what the hell they do, okay?
And the U.S. can't really complain about Russia starting a stage over there, right? Because that's what the West did in Ukraine and is still doing. They bringing them long-range missiles over there. So now Russia bringing those into the Western Hemisphere, and that Baruchnik can reach the continental USA.
Yep.
They can hit you.
Oh, yeah.
And so now if they arm them with nuclear warheads, it's on.
That's a heavy point. Thomas, you would bring something out? Or you?
No.
All right, so look, go to where I forgot where was that. I know it's getting late. Did we finish that short video or no? Okay, play it from the beginning. No, I'm sorry. I want the part where they start to show the missile launched.
Remember, the Kremlin recently announced the deployment of its Oreshnik missile system in Belarus. Moscow claims that the missile, which means hazel tree in Russian, is capable of Mach speeds of 10 plus and near zero interception probability, equipped with multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle.
Pause real quick. I had to look something up. Mach 10. Mach 10 is a quick search from Gemerit.com. Mach 10 is approximately 7,680 miles per hour. Now, I want you to think of this, right? So anybody in this room, some of you in this room, I've been 100, when I was younger, 16 years old, 15 years old, I was riding with the older cool kid. He had a Trans Am, and I never rode with him again after that. He got up to 155 miles an hour, and I thought I was going to die. And some of you have probably been faster than that. Some of you, Solomon, Micah, in Germany, they got the Autobahn. My brother told me stories. He was in a car doing 160, and Lambos passed him doing 200 miles an hour on the Autobahn in Germany, right? Y'all men have been fast. Yasi, you've probably been in a muscle car.
155. Yeah.
Well, anyways, I thought I was going to die. It was crazy. Can you imagine even going 1,000 miles an hour? These commercial jets go 400 or 500 miles an hour, and you feel really comfortable, right? Can you imagine 1,000 miles an hour? Now, these are almost 7,600 miles per hour. You can't shoot that down. No. So what we're showing you is that the world power structure, as much as America has these fleets, that has all these submarines, that has this powerful naval and air force power, the Oreshnik and what is it called, Thomas, the other one with the B?
The Berfisnik.
The Bereshnik, right?
Bereshnik.
The Oreshnik and Bereshnik, very, very original with their name. They changed one syllable. Those missiles are both underwater and from above, change everything. And it's going to change warfare altogether. Now, can we show, I want to see where it shoots down.
And to that point, Cap, I watched a movie. It was on, I think it's Netflix, called House of Dynamite. They said when you try to intercept something like that, it's like trying to hit, this is what the guy said, it's like trying to hit a bullet with a bullet.
Damn.
And I told brothers, go watch it. They showed somebody fired a missile, and the U.S. was scrambling to try to intercept it, and they failed.
Hey, AI, let's see if AI can do this. Type in a search to AI, what is the likelihood of shooting a bullet with a bullet? I bet you it's like 1 in a trillion. Think about that. Hitting a bullet with a bullet. And see, AI is so smart, and maybe it could check us out. Because what Micah said is basically your odds of doing that is, you know, and those are probably multi-million-dollar missiles you're shooting. So let's just see what the odds are. Let's see if it generates odds. Read it, Solomon.
The likelihood of deliberately shooting a bullet with another bullet is astronomically low to nearly impossible for a human.
Damn.
But it has happened accidentally on chaotic battlefields where millions of rounds were fired. Highly sophisticated computer-controlled defense systems can, however, achieve this feat with a high degree of probability.
Now, maybe, what is that? Maybe 1 in 100? Maybe that's 1 in 100. That's the high degree of probability. The point is, what you read on that, you heard in that special is, you're not stopping it. You even if you shot 100 missiles at it, maybe you got a chance of 1 in 100. This level of warfare we're at now in 2025. Now let's watch it on the screen. The U.S. was shook. Their generals, their military strategists, when they saw this, every general that's on Russia's side was like, yes. Everybody that was an enemy to Russia was like, we got to go back to the drawing board. Okay, play that.
Nightmare. In its overnight attack, Russia launched on the northeastern Ukrainian city of Sumy, injuring 11 residents, including 4 children. The Russian Defense Ministry has said that its forces have taken control of another village in Ukraine's southeastern Dnipropetrovsk region. The ministry shared a video showing Russian flags at different locations
So this
within
is
the
during the daytime, right, with precision. But there's one that at night that it shows it, and you see it hit in the air, and then it looks like it's so powerful looking. It's can you maybe it's on this. Hold up.
Settlement.
Let me
And Moscow's western city of Oryol is restricting the supply of heat and hot water after the Ukrainian drones hit a pipeline at a local power plant. As Russia-Ukraine peace talks hit a dead end and the winter knocks on the doorstep, each side has upped the ante, aiming to cause maximum damage to each other's energy grid.
So that's not it. Look, if you type in Arisnik, come on, come on, y'all. Maybe the computer's there. Somebody, please, let's just find. I really want to show that before we end it, because in order for Russia to actually send troops and munitions to Venezuela in this climate, is because they have real power. I think that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Rewind that. This is the one. That's right.
On November 21st, Russia struck Ukraine's Dnipro with a new kind of missile. Known as a Reshnik or hazel tree in Russia, it caused limited damage, according to senior officials. But the first combat use of such a design, which Russian President Vladimir Putin called unstoppable, has drawn scrutiny from Western military experts. An examination by two such experts of the debris recovered from the new Intermediate Range Ballistic Missile, or IRBM, shows how it dropped multiple payloads across the target area. Jeffrey Lewis is the director of the East Asia Nonproliferation Program at the James Martin Center for Nonproliferation Studies at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies in California.
And so the ballistic missile launches and takes everything up into space, and the first stage falls.
The missile flies at Mach 10, 7,600 miles an hour. It gets to space very, very quickly. When it gets to space, now he's talking about what it does in space. You got to understand, the Mossad is allowing the Russians to be more advanced with their science for a reason. Play on.
Falls away, and then the second rocket motor falls away, and then you just have the bus kind of drifting in space.
Lewis said the largest pieces of debris were part of its warhead bus. The other large section of wreckage contained guidance, fuel tanks, and other electronics, he said. The bus allows for multiple independently targetable reentry vehicles, or MIRVs, each of which carries a warhead and can hit a separate mark.
As the thing goes through space.
Wait, how is it possible that each warhead can hit a separate target? Because they can control where they want it to go. So if it's a certain radius and you want to hit a factory that creates processes fuel that's a mile away, and then a half a mile away you have a communications tower, you can hit with precision with major munitions from space. It's a game changer, man. Okay, we're going to close out after this. Play that.
Those thrusters will fire to turn the bus so that it can drop warheads in different locations. And that's basically what we saw. Is the bus carried probably 6 warheads, and each of those 6 warheads carried 6 submunitions. So what you saw were 6 different sets of 6 little missiles striking the base, and they each went to slightly different places, and that's because the bus was able to maneuver and drop them in different spots.
The missile was derived from the RS-26 Intermediate Range Ballistic Missile, which is capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Lewis said the new design had most likely removed a booster stage from the RS-26, reducing its range.
So
after
pause,
the missile,
in interest of time, y'all, it's 11:45. Y'all put up the thumbnail again. Just wanted to spark everybody to start watching the news, what's happening in South America. Look what's happening in the Gulf of America, or formerly Gulf of Mexico. Look at Mexico. Look at what's happening in Canada. Look at Canadian politics. The United States of Babylon the Great is trying to take the whole West, and they're going to do it. the Western Hemisphere. So watch the news, pay attention, and Lord will, you got something tonight out of tonight's show. No law back attack. We didn't have time. No book review. We didn't have time. But I'll tell you, brothers out there, get into the green, get healthy, stay motivated. Officer Mike is showing us the Booster Club. Shout out to the we're doing mission. They just got back from a mission, another mission. What is it, like 200? It's a ridiculous number of missions. And the reason why we're able to do so is because of the faithful men, women, and I bet you there's probably some children, 17, 16, that are donating as well. We thank you for donating, making it possible for the prophets to go 12 tribes worldwide. Text GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 646-982-3858, or hit the PayPal and a free will offering, what the Lord put in your spirit. We don't ask for tithes. That is something that was done away with the Levitical priesthood and the ordinance thereof. So all praise to the Most High. We are your hosts. I'm Captain Shem, y'all.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yasa.
Officer Thomas.
And with that, 2 hours in, y'all have a good night. We say shalom.
Shalom.
You'll never gonna see this on any mainstream news.
This ain't what you want, this is what you need. Yeah, they made us slaves, hung our kids from trees. Nooses on our neck, with us till we bleed. Hey man, call it Galatians 3:13.
You're now tuned in to Preceptuponprecept.
Crew so strange, look at how low they hang. Oh man, took out the chains, so when the wind blow we just swing. Much oppression.